plays an important part in Pride and Prejudice. Through close examination of a few key scenes, we're now going to explore how it works and why. This is a difficult concept, which we expand further in the accompanying booklet.
In this novel, of course, the great mistress of irony is going to be Jane Austen, who writes the novel from the beginning with a lot of double meaning.
Yes.
Well, the really basic dictionary definition, I think, is that it's a use of words in which the apparent meaning, I mean the meaning on the surface, is not the real meaning. There are two meanings in there, and one seems to be the meaning, but there's a sort of a hidden meaning underneath, which either another character or perhaps the reader is going to pick up in a story.
Is it really that important in her narration, do you think?
I think irony is a tremendously large part of her effect, and it's her voice, really, because a lot of the irony in the novels comes in the part that sounds as if Jane Austen herself is talking, you know, the story as it's being narrated. And of course it comes in here in the very first sentence.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighbourhood, this truth is so well fixed in the minds of the surrounding families that he is considered as the rightful property of some one or other of their daughters.
A single man of large fortune, my dear. He came down on Monday in a chaise and four to see the place. His name is Bingley, and he will be in possession by Michaelmas, and he has 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls.
How so? How can it affect them?
Oh, Mr. Bennet, how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I'm thinking of his marrying one of them. For a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Yes, he must indeed.
In the book, her authorial voice is a very kind of tricky one. Occasionally, she tells you the strict truth, as in one or two of the things that she says about Mrs. Bennet, a woman of little understanding, and something else. That, we think, is straight. But then, when at the beginning of the book, she says, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man of good fortune must be in want of a wife. You think, well, you know, does she mean this or not? Is it a truth universally acknowledged? And then you think, well, it doesn't mean he's in want of the wife, like, because he might be a confirmed bachelor, or he might just hate women or something, so she can't mean that. And then in the next sentence, which is about all the wishes and expectations of the neighbourhood, you realise that it's, she's saying it's not, it's just because everybody wishes it to be so much, that it almost comes to be a truth.
Yes, there's a group of really predatory hunting families, sort of waiting women waiting for these rich men to drop into their laps.
So the irony consists of the real truth is not what she's saying. She's got her tongue in her cheek.
And the words themselves are very significant in this passage, because the second sentence ends, you know, with where they hope he will end, you know, as the property of one of their daughters. You know, property is such an important word in relation to the marriage. So in two sentences, you've got the whole plot, really.
Of course, doing the adaptation and having taken the decision not to use Jane Austen's authorial voice, we got the problem of how are we going to do this. So in fact, I've got Mrs. Bennet announcing that a gentleman of fortune has arrived, and this is obviously very important news, and had Lizzie say, ironically, and if he's of good fortune, then he must be in want of a wife. Absolutely. She says it in an ironic way. Her mother takes it in a literal way, saying, well, yes, of course he must.
And the three sort of really stupid characters, Mrs. Bennet and Lady Catherine and Mr. Collins, don't have any irony themselves. And so all the irony is in the fact that the other characters around, and you, the reader, are sort of all together against them, and that gives you all the pleasure, really.
Where I hope to catch the Bromley post at 35 minutes past 10, and thence to Watford, from whence I shall engage a hired.
The joy of the scene with Mr. Collins when he comes to visit the Bennets, I think, is that Mr. Bennet, who we've established, I think, very early on, is a character who speaks with a great deal of irony, is hoping Mr. Collins is going to be the perfect vessel for a lot of it.
Discourage him. Can you be a sensible man, sir?
Oh, I think not, my dear. Indeed, I have great hopes of finding him quite the reverse. Mr. Collins, you are very welcome.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Bennet.
Mr. Bennet has to talk to Mr. Collins and draw him out and allow him to show how stupid he is for his amusement and also for Liz's amusement because she's in on the joke. By definition, we're in on it too. So Mr. Bennet, Elizabeth and the audience are sharing this joke against Mr. Collins, who of course is deeply unaware.
It is fortunate for you, Mr. Collins, that you possess such an extraordinary talent for flattering with delicacy. May I ask whether these pleasing attentions proceed from the impulse of the moment, or are they the result of previous study?
They arise chiefly from what is passing at the time, sir. I do sometimes amuse myself by writing down and arranging such little compliments as may be adapted to ordinary occasions. But I try to give them as unstudied an air as possible.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mr. Collins takes everything literally. He's got no concept of irony at all.
So he gives away the fact that he does prepare them, which of course is particularly low and makes it look very ridiculous.
So that people like Lizzie and her father can make fun of Mr. Collins without in a way being cruel, because Mr. Collins doesn't understand, so he's not offended.
That's right. They have one joke between themselves.
And Mr. Collins just falls for it. There's a general sense that some of the people round the table, at least, are enjoying the joke, are in on it, and others aren't. Mary, for example, probably takes it completely seriously.
And what's nice about Jane Austen is she never keeps the audience out of it. We're always included. We're always allowed to enjoy it.
That's the thing, because if we're not one of the clever ones, we feel very affronted, don't we?
Yes. But she never does that. And somehow, if Mr. Collins had caught on and had been quite offended, I think it suddenly isn't. It's very bitter and
that's right, because they're not really
sarcastic.
cruel, or Elizabeth isn't really cruel.
No. I think they would both be mortified if he got offended. The joy is the private joke, and he's the ideal person to play it on, really.
Irony we seem to think it's a peculiarly English or British thing, which I suppose it is. We make possibly the best use of irony, but people say, well, Americans don't understand, but they do.
It's very deeply embedded in our everyday culture, I think. It occurs frequently in Blackadder, those elaborate insults that Blackadder deposits on Baldric.
Oh, sir, poor little Mildred the cat, what's he ever done to you?
It is the way of the world, Baldric. The abused always kick downwards. I'm annoyed, and so I kick the cat. The cat pounces on the mouse, and finally the mouse bites you on the behind.
What do I do?
Nothing. You are last in God's great chain. Unless, of course, there's an earwig around here that you'd like to victimise.
Do you think that Mr. Collins, when he's talking about his marriage proposals, do you think he's being ironic there?
Well, he's not being ironic, but he could be said to be an example of irony. In this one, it's the person who's doing all the talking is the only person not in on the joke. Elizabeth is sitting listening open-mouthed to this chap making a complete prat of himself, doing his proposal in all the wrong order. And I think all the readers of the book and all the people watching the adaptation know that he should never do it this way, that you start off with "I love you" in a proposal, and you say the other sort of advantages of the marriage a bit later on.
But before I am run away by my feelings on this subject, perhaps it would be advisable for me to state my reasons for marrying.
Mr. Collins.
My reasons for marrying are, first, that I think it a right thing for every clergyman to set the example of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, that I am convinced it will add very greatly to my happiness. And thirdly, which perhaps I should have mentioned first, that it is the particular recommendation of my noble patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Mr. Collins, she said, you must marry. Choose properly, she said. Choose a gentlewoman for my sake, and for your own, let her be an active, useful sort of person. Not brought up too high,